There's a brand new poll showing a record number of Americans are losing confidence in institutions like public schools, the medical system, organized religion. The Gallup poll showing the number of Americans who express confidence in public institutions is going down. 60% have a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the military. About a quarter of those surveyed said they have the same for the Supreme Court. And less than 20% have that kind of confidence in the criminal justice system. 4 institutions are at their lowest points ever recorded: police, public schools, large tech companies, and big business. Let's bring in NewsNation's Leland Vittert. Leland, hi. I always am grateful to have you on in the morning. I know you have a big show to prepare for in the evening, but I did a little research. The National Library of Medicine has done a survey on this from 20 some odd years ago. They studied the decline in trust back in the 80s and 90s, right? And so it says that negative perceptions of the economy, scandals associated with Congress, and increasing public concern about crime each lead to declining public trust in government. Declining trust in government, in turn, leads to less positive evaluations of Congress and reduced support for government action to address those concerns. When are we going to learn from our history and actually apply it to real solutions?
Well, we should be thankful, really, as television anchors for Congress, because Congress is the only institution that has less American trust than television news. So us talking about this is a little rich, and I think we should be aware of the irony as we do so. But you bring up a really good point. That loss of trust is both because of actions, but also because of rhetoric. And if you go down the list of institutions, either actions by them or actions by politicians about them to exploit our own fears and anger here in America, are directly correlated to the loss in trust. You talk about the police. There's the defund the police movement, and a large group of the population and politicians calling police racist and saying that they need to be abolished. Well, people pay attention to that. They listen to that. The same with big business. I think if you flip this on its head, to me, the most interesting data point is small businesses. 68%, great deal, quite a lot of trust in small businesses. That's down 2 points. It's within the margin of error. That really shows where America views people who have their best interests and whose values most align, and the spirit that many Americans still look to. Is the concept of small business in America, which is who employs the vast majority of Americans.
Yeah, and some other disturbing numbers from that Gallup poll. Trust in universities sank to 36%. That's down from 57% back in 2015. Rising fees, free speech concerns, just some of the reasons listed for not having trust. Then there are the Supreme Court's decisions on issues like affirmative action, causing some trust issues. You know, I think about the time of FDR, restoring trust in the nation at a very volatile time. And he wanted to restore trust in the banks. He had a plan of relief, recovery, and reform. What do you think would be America's New Deal today?
It's a great question, because the more we hear about Biden economics, and we're going to challenge this tonight, the less the American people seem to be buying into it, right? The idea of the Biden administration was to finish Lyndon Johnson's The Great Society, which was finishing FDR's New Deal. And that has contributed to a lot of the loss of trust. You said that this is disturbing. I'm not sure that this is all that disturbing in a certain sense, which is maybe some of these institutions didn't deserve a lot of trust to begin with. And maybe this is the American public finally starting to realize that institutions like public universities, and certainly a lot of private universities, are out for themselves and gain power by telling people how to think, and gain power by shutting down thought that they disagree with, and gain power by continuing to get larger and larger endowments, and do so with tax-free status. So we can cut these numbers both ways, and I think that you could argue whether it's the actions by these various institutions that have led to this breakdown in trust, or whether it's the rhetoric surrounding the actions that's causing it. Either way, I don't really know whether it's all that dangerous or disturbing as much as it is a wake-up call that the common values that we as Americans all seem to agree on, and that this concept of fair play that we all buy into, may be breaking down because there's so many Americans who feel like the institutions that are out there to protect them aren't.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.